Okay, to start with Airflow, what is an Airflow? What's the need of it? Um, let's go ahead and talk about a use case in which data pipeline runs at 10 p.m. every day, and let's say it has extract, load, and transform. Let's say you are using some API to extract the data, and you are using Snowflake to load the data, and you are using dbt to transform the data. You are applying some transformations on the database. So let's say this is the data pipeline. There might be many chances of failure, of maybe API getting failure or Snowflake not working, or there might be some errors in the transformations that we are going to apply. So Airflow is a tool to manage all these things, and also Airflow manages failure of data pipelines easily. This is the notes that I have prepared for Airflow. I will also attach this in the video. Mm, yeah, this is a simple data pipeline that I had created. I will also explain each and every task, that how to create this task, and also how to execute this task. And let's talk about Airflow. What's in Airflow? Airflow is an open source project to programmatically order, schedule, and monitor data pipelines. You can say that Airflow is an orchestrator. And also, what's the use of Airflow? We can run we can run or monitor hundreds and hundreds of data pipelines easily, and also it's scalable. And you can see that it has a very beautiful UI, and also extensibility. As I said, Airflow is an orchestrator. It allows us to execute our task in the right way, right order, at the right time. Okay, let's talk about the core components of Airflow. There were actually 5 core components of Airflow: web server, scheduler, metastore, and a dbt, and also there were triggerer and executor as well. Let's talk about web server. What is a web server? It is a Flask application that serves the Airflow as a backend. And also, uh, what is a scheduler? Scheduler is in charge of scheduling all the tasks in Airflow. What is a metastore? Um, Metastore is a database to store all the metadata of all the tasks that we were going to execute, and also um, it's compatible with all SQL, like Postgres, MySQL, Oracle DB, RSQL Server, whatever it might be. And also, what is a triggerer? Triggerer allows us to run specific tasks. We can talk about this later. And coming to executor, executor won't execute the task, but it has the data, or will write the data in which it has where the workers will execute, and what time and what kind of tasks the workers will execute. Let's say there were like different kinds of executors, like Celery executor or Kubernetes executor. And Celery executor has queue. Um, okay, and there is one more important task called DAG in Airflow. This is a DAG. DAG is what is a DAG? DAG is nothing but directed effective graph. Yeah, but if we had a cycle while we are designing this pipeline, you will get an error. So since it's a cycle, there should not be any cycles in it. What is an operator? Operator is nothing but a task. Um, you can think on an operator like a way to encapsulate what you exactly want to do. There are 3 types of operators: action operator, transfer operator, and sensor operator. Action operator executes some things. Let's for example we can talk about Python operator. It executes a Python function. And or let's talk about bash operator. It executes a bash command. What is the use of transfer operator? Yeah, these are operators for used to transfer data from point A to point B. Let's say from MySQL to Redshift, like that. A sensor operator, it's one of the most interesting operator is called sensor operator. Sensor, like these sensors allow us to wait for something to happen before moving on to next task. What is the task instance? Actually, an operator is nothing but a task. An operator is a task. When you run an operator or when you run the task, you will get the task instance. And we attach these dependencies to these tasks, it becomes a workflow or a DAG. Okay, there is one more important topic that we need to learn about. Airflow is not a data streaming solution, not data processing framework like Spark. It means that we are not going to schedule data pipelines. Like, yeah, it means that we are not going to schedule data pipelines every second. We should not use Airflow as a streaming solution. We should not use it as a data processing framework like Spark, because Airflow doesn't expect that you process your data in Airflow. Yeah, Airflow doesn't expect that for us to process our data in Airflow in operator. Airflow is the best orchestrator. I'll talk about what is an exact definition of orchestrator in the next upcoming slide. Let's talk about the architectures in Airflow. There are two different architectures in Airflow: single node architecture and multi-node architecture. Let's talk about the single node architecture. In this architecture, we had a web server, a metastore, a scheduler, and an executor. And there will be a queue instead of executor as well. Which is a part of scheduler. Executor is a part of scheduler. Our architecture should be highly available. There should not be single point of failure. Like, how should an architecture be is there should not be any single point of failure. Okay, let's talk about serially executor. We can use like RabbitMQ or Redis. The queue is like external to the executor, right? So why do we need multi-node architecture? To design a thing, to design single, like the architecture should be in a way there should not be any failure, like there should not be any single point of failure. So we had two different nodes in which one has web server, scheduler, and executor. As I said, scheduler is in charge of scheduling the task, and metastore, queue, and external to the and queue. This is external to the executor, and there will be worker nodes which will actually execute the tasks in Airflow. So here there were three worker nodes and Airflow workers and Airflow Celery worker. We use this command to run the worker. What is an orchestration? Orchestration is the coordination and management of multiple computer systems and applications or services, stringing together multiple tasks in order to execute a larger workflow or process. Here, what's workflow? Data pipelines. Processing the data pipelines. How Airflow works. So initially, we'll write the DAG. We'll create a new DAG, then put the file in the DAG folder, and scheduler passes through this DAG folder for every 5 minutes in default. This is how Airflow works. And after that, if you make any changes to the DAG, it will be updated to the UI in every 30 seconds. It's a default thing. And so the scheduler creates a DAG run object. Yeah, after scheduler passes through the DAG or DAG.py, it creates a DAG run object. And DAG run object is taken to the with the state running. Yeah, it has the state running. It takes the first task to execute. Like this DAG has, let me show you that. This DAG has code to like every task. Like there will be a task in order in Python. So it will take the first task to execute, and then the task is called task instance object, and it has the state none to it. At this point, the state of the task instance object is none, and then later it will be changed to schedule. After the scheduler sends a task instance object into the queue of the executor, the state of the task is now queued. And now the executor creates a subprocess to run the task. Another task instance object has the state running. When the task is done, the task is success or failed. That is why we have to wait for 5 minutes before getting our DAG there. So yeah, of course that. That's a default thing. When a scheduler triggers a task, it creates a DAG run object in the state of running. Okay, what is a Docker? Docker is a software development platform and a kind of virtualization technology that makes it really easy to develop and deploy apps instead of packaged virtualized environments. Like in a Docker container, we can run the apps. It's a mini computer. You can think like it's like a mini computer to run the apps. It has all the environments in it. To view, this is a command Docker compose PS to view all the Docker containers. Okay, what are the core components of Airflow? A web server, scheduler, metastore, and the trigger. Airflow is an orchestrator to programmatically order, schedule, and monitor batch data pipelines. Remember, Airflow is not a processing framework, it's an orchestrator. We can process GBs of data outside of Airflow. That is like you have a Spark cluster and you can operate and you can use an operator to execute a Spark job. This is a note that I have prepared reading lots of documentation in Airflow. So yeah. DAG is an okay, what is it? Like DAG contains the data pipelines and the operations that is in the remote task. An executor defines how tasks are executed, whereas worker is a process. Yeah, an executor defines how tasks are executed, but whereas worker is the process, actual process that executing our task. The scheduler schedules your task, web server serves the UI, and the database stores the metadata of the Airflow. Is how it works. Okay, let's talk about views. Graph view. This is the best view to check the dependencies of your DAG. Let me show you this DAG view anyway. This is nothing but graph view. This is what we are talking. These are called dependencies. These are what they are talking about. Let's go ahead with landing view. This is the best view to monitor the time it will take for our task to complete over many diagrams. Let me show you this landing view as well. This is the landing view. Hmm. And an old computer, so my Docker is running slow. Yeah, this is landing view. Let's talk about what is a Gantt view. Most you to detect bottlenecks in your DAG. Oh yeah, we can use code view to check whether the modification has applied or not. This is the code view. Yeah, this is a code that we had wrote. I'll just explain you this code in detail in the next video. We are already done with views and basics of Airflow. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.